Now, yeah, Brad, just 2 more questions. I'm going to kick it back to Kevin. My first question is, let's talk about your golf tournament that you host.
Yes.
Tell our audience about it and how they might be able to participate and help that foundation.
I've got to tell you, Beyond the Lights was an idea that we had. Kyle and I were playing golf one day in Austin, and he said, we got to give back to the community. It was the first year we were doing the show. And I said, well, what do we do? And he goes, I don't know. What can we do? And he says, well, we got to do some sort of event and give money to charity. And I said, well, let's do a golf tournament. He said, you ever done one before? And I said, yeah, but nothing big, you know. And he said, well, you've got production experience, and I'm just an actor. Let's do that. I said, okay, let's do a golf tournament. So we decided to do a golf tournament, and within about 5 minutes, we decided, well, who are we going to give the money to? And since Jason Street, of course, in the first episode of the television show, breaks his neck and is, confined to a wheelchair for, however long, we said, well, let's give the money to the Spinal Cord Foundation. So we found out, we didn't know who they were, but we decided we'd do a golf tournament and we'd give the money to the Spinal Cord Foundation. We found out that Nick Bonacani started the Miami project and to cure paralysis when his son Mark went down 25 years earlier. So our money goes to the Bonacani Fund to cure paralysis, the Miami project, which is the largest research facility in the world for spinal cord research, and then the other half of the money goes to the Gridiron Heroes, which was started by the Canalists down in San Antonio just about 6 or 7 years ago. And that's a local group which has now grown national, which provides assistance for boys and girls who go down with sports injuries and all injuries, anyone confined to a wheelchair. So within one golf hole, we sort of had this idea and then threw it out there to the people of Austin, who are just fantastic givers, and we had so many people volunteer, and now it's our 5th year, and this year we raised over $250,000.
Wow, congratulations.
So it's been one of the finest things about doing in the show, and we called it Beyond the Lights. So our tournament is Beyond the Lights, and even though our show is now in its 5th and final season is ended, and we're in reruns on ESPN Classic, Beyond the Lights will continue, and it's now a 3-day event held down in Austin, and not just a golf tournament, but an event for the entire family. So we're very proud of it.
How do people find out about it if they want to participate?
They can go to beyondthelights.org, and it'll show pictures of videos of the last year's events and the last 4 years' events, and how to sign up, how to sponsor, and it's all right there at beyondthelights.org. But it's been a joy. It really
Kevin,
has.
let's take it over to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, among the things we've discussed here tonight, that probably the most amusing, when you're talking about somebody, let's say a character like you're talking about, you playing Friday Night Lights, if that kind of individual ever came up to, let's say, a Tommy Kimber or John Clark and told him how to run his football program, I would imagine we'd be looking at a collision, something very similar to a Patriot missile colliding with a Scud. It would have been a pretty good collision there.
That's true. Or you just might have gotten the look from Coach Clark. That's about all it took, the look. And, yeah, that's true. That's true.
I'm going to finish this up by saying the Judge still remains one of the more remarkable people I've ever been around or met, because, when he does things, he goes all out. And he mentioned an array of guests he was aiming to get at here. And, of course, each and every time he mentioned the guests he was getting at, I'm just kind of, yeah, right, we're going to get that person. Well, he said he were going to get you, and we got you. Yeah. We're very pleased. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. It's right before our Emmys. We're going to the Emmys next week, and maybe we'll win this time. So we're up for Best TV Show, and I'm proud to be here and, shout about Friday Night Lights as much as I can.
Well, I can tell you got 2 people right here sure rooting for you.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I'll tell you what. When we return, we're going to have a visit with, among other things, another iconic name, Leroy Jordan. We'll be back at you right after these messages. got with us one of the truly, Judge, I'd have to say truly, iconic names in all of football here.
Absolutely.
Leroy Jordan is here. Leroy said, don't ask me anything that I can't answer. That's too simple. So an easy question. Was Coach Bryan really as easy to play for as they said?
Oh, yeah, he was very easy. As long as you did everything he said his way, he was very easy to work with.
But, it's kind of funny. We had mentioned your former roommate, Richard Williamson, who was head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I might add, at one time, is a good friend of mine. And it's really funny because Richard said all you hear about Coach Landry is this simple. If you were Coach, Bryant, if you were willing to work hard, extremely hard, and sacrifice, you had no problem at all getting along with the guy.
No, none whatsoever. If you would work hard as he wanted to work and be a team player all the time, 100% of the time, no wanting to be the key guy here and there, that didn't work with him.
What are you doing with yourself these, Leroy?
I've been in the lumber business here in Texas for the last 33 years or so I'm still doing that. I enjoy working, and I'm healthy, so I'm going to do it as long as I can.
When you mention the name Leroy Jordan, it conjures up an image, a Dick Butkus type, no-nonsense linebacker who just flat out knocked them dead. The ultimate, so to speak, bad guy on the field. And I mean that in a good way. I mean the rough, tough guy. Any stories over the years, anybody who's ever come up to you saying, you're Leroy Jordan, tell me a story about how tough you are, Leroy?
Well, I've had a few. I had the unfortunate thing happened in a game in Georgia Tech where I hit a guy and kind of broke his jaw, and same thing happened later on against the Philadelphia Eagles. Timmy Brown, the running back, great running back for them, he was looking at the ball, and I hit him, and it just happened to hit him across the jaw, and it broke his jaw and knocked some teeth out. So it's not anything you like to brag about. You feel bad about those things that happened, but certainly the people remembered and asked about them.
Judge.
Leroy, you were in Super Bowl I. Is that not correct?
No. I was in Super Bowl 5 and 6. The Packers were in 1 and 2, and they played the Kansas City Chiefs, I believe, and somebody else. But we were in the Ice Bowl that got them in the lost the Ice Bowl that got Green Bay into Super Bowl I believe is the way it worked. So we were close, but we didn't quite get it done. So
where I was going with that, we have a lot of young high school athletes that are going to be watching this, young football coaches. They're going to go through a lot of, in their mind anyways, big games, and they're going to get up for them. The Ice Bowl is a great example where Green Bay went on to the NFL championship that year. How do you get back up after a loss like that and get ready for the next season? What do you tell yourself, and what kind of advice can you give a young high school athlete and a young football coach out there?
Well, the big thing is, if you're disappointed and lose a big game, certainly it's good to learn from it and be disappointed. But you have to turn it around and go back and prepare the next year. Believe that it's going to be your time, your year. And it was. We went back to Super Bowl, after losing to Baltimore in Super Bowl 5, won it the next year. And we were in the playoffs 11 out of 12 years in one stretch right there. And so we had a lot of great opportunities, played in 3 Super Bowls, and only won 1, but as I always say, we gave one away to Baltimore, and we got beat by Pittsburgh 3 points. So we had an opportunity to win all the Super Bowls we were in.
You said earlier before the interview that you've been in the lumber business down in Texas for 33 years. How can you relate your experiences from the gridiron onto the business field?
Well, I think I do that well because I relate to my people that we're playing as a team, and we're working as a team in business and in football. And I always remember what Coach Bryan told us about, says, guys, I'm not teaching y'all the game of football. I'm teaching you the game of life. And this will carry over with you all of your life if you take it to heart. And that's what I did. I believed in those lessons of hard work, integrity, responsibility, and teamwork. And I put that in my business and try to get my people to really help each other be successful.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Jordan, that's just a great testimony of who you are and what you've done in your life, and I appreciate that. Young athletes need to hear that. young coaches need to hear that, and I appreciate that.
The big thing I try to do is treat every one of my employees the same. Is I treat the guy that drives the truck or loads the forklift as my comptroller or my general managers. I try to treat them all the same, and that's what I admire so much about Coach Bryant, is he treated everybody the same no matter what your ability was. And he wanted you to be the best you could be, not better than somebody else over here. He wanted you to be the best player and the best person you could be.
Mr. Jordan, thank you. Kevin?
I'll tell you what, we certainly appreciate you take the time to visit with us, and best of luck to you from here on out. And Leroy, I'm telling you what, based on my experiences as both somebody who's really had a real predilection for Bear Bryant and Tom Landry, and you got to play for both of them, it's really great seeing you.
Man, I was so fortunate. You know, I had a dad that was very similar to both those men, so I had some real male role models in my life, so and I'm very fortunate to have that.
Okay, Leroy, thank you for taking the time to visit with us.
You bet. You bet.
Okay, we'll be right back at you right after this.